The mainstream media is describing this as peaceful protesting. Twitter had a story saying that the peaceful protesters were just watching films as they sat there and listening to live music. What have you observed when you've been on the ground?
So I can say, especially during the day, and I saw this in Minneapolis too, even during the height of the craziness. During the day, things are generally peaceful. Things are generally calm. Obviously, it's Seattle, so it's typically raining, so there's not that many people out during the day. However, the mood kind of changes at night, and I just wrote this up for townhall.com, and you can look it up there. But there was an incident where right outside of the zone, there was a dumpster fire that was set that threatened to set the nearby building ablaze, and so the protesters called the fire department to put it out. So not the autonomous zone's fire department, but the Seattle department. And literally right after that, there was a crowd that surrounded a young man who was accused of thievery, accused of stealing something. And they were trying to interrogate him. They were asking him, why did he run if he was innocent? And at one point, there was a guy with a baseball bat, and he said, I'm going to beat your, he threatened to beat him up, essentially, right there in the street. And the only way that didn't happen is because he was able to get away from the crowd, and it wasn't discovered until then that he actually didn't steal what he was being accused of stealing. So you could imagine if the mob actually decided to beat him up, only to then discover, okay, well, he actually didn't steal it. Cracks are starting to form here, and we're only day 4 into this autonomous zone, and so things are starting to degrade a little bit. And again, and all this is being done without any outside intervention.
Well, what you described, too, is literally exactly what will happen, not just in an isolated incident in an autonomous zone of some Antifa thugs in Seattle, but this will happen in cities and states across our country if we defund and disband the police. What you described is vigilante justice. It's not real justice. It's a group of vigilantes who take revenge and vengeance into their own hands. It isn't a neutral criminal justice system as we have, and though it has flaws, it does a pretty darn good job. That is exactly what is going to happen, and it's crazy to me that they don't recognize that as quickly as they disband the police and become part of this vigilante mob, that vigilante mob could turn on them unfairly, and they'd have no recourse.